Hello and welcome to another video. In this one we're talking about Git, specifically the most recent Git release, which released a few days ago. Git 2.54, and a specific feature from that is, I guess, near and dear to my heart, having written pre-commit, which is a Git hooks framework, which is that Git 2.54 added a new way to configure Git hooks. I'm going to talk about the classic way now and then what this enables. And I guess the burning question is, does this obsolete Git hooks frameworks? Spoilers, the answer is sort of, but not really, depending on what the Git hooks framework does. Some of them it definitely obsoletes, but not pre-commit. Anyway, let's jump into how Git hooks work currently, and then we'll talk about how these new config-based hooks work as well. So I have actually built a copy of Git and put it on my path by symlinking it into my bin directory. Somewhere in here. Git, yes, indeed. Not these, those are my custom commands, although I don't use this one anymore. I should get rid of it. Get rid of it? No, I didn't intend that pun, but anyway, so I have built from source Git version 2.54.0. This has the new version of Git hooks. It has backward compatibility for the old version of Git hooks as well, so I'm going to show that off first. Okay, so if we clone a repository, I'm just going to use good old AST pretty, the one that we often use in and hold on to kind of not have this give away the bit here. Normally, how Git hooks work is there is your Git repository, and inside the Git repository, there is the .git directory and a hooks directory. In here, you can write scripts that are triggered on various events. So for instance, if we write a git hooks pre-commit and user bin and bash echo hi exit 1, I don't know, even put set-eu exo pipe fail here just so we get something. Make that executable. Is that right? Yeah. And so now if I do a commit, this hook will run. In fact, it'll run before the commit happens, and that's why pre-commit is an ability to stop a commit. This is the Git hook pre-commit, not to be confused with the tool that I wrote that's poorly named called pre-commit. Yeah, go back time machine to 2014 and tell me this is a bad idea, and well, it's too late now. But anyway, oh, git commit allow empty, and you'll see, oh, did I not? Why? Oh, I somehow wrote it into a git hook directory instead of git hooks. My bad. What am I doing? Okay, let's try that again. Git commit allow empty dash m foo, and you can see that the hook was run and it prevented the commit because it exited non-zero. Whereas when the hook was not installed, it allowed me to commit. You could also customize the location of the git hooks by using git config core.hooks path. So let's say we set it to foo, make dir foo, and then move that git hook into that directory, into foo. And now if we do the same commit here, you can see that it is still running. And let's just to make sure that it is definitely running, we're gonna change the text here so that you can see it's definitely running here. So this was the one way that you could configure Git hooks. So there had to be exactly one. It had to be in a directory on disk. You could configure it with core.hooks path to change that directory, but you still only had one copy of them. And the new hook system changes this. So let's actually unset. I don't remember the command, so I'm just going to do it this way by just editing the config file directly. Maybe not recommended, but it works. The new system uses git config itself to set what commands and events to run them on. So it switches more from having files on disk to instead having a configuration that sets up how hooks get run. They show you the raw config here, which I'm not sure that you're really intended to edit the config file directly, although I just did, so who knows. But the way that I've seen it done is using the actual git config command. So if we want to set up a commit or a hook, we use git config hook dot, and then you name the hook. I've conventionally been using like toolname.event as my conventional naming for these, but in this case, we're just going to do example. These hooks have two configuration options, one being the event they trigger on, which can be repeated many times, or the command. So let's do event git config set this thing to pre-commit. And we're also going to set the command to, let's do foo/precommit, just to have the same exact situation that we had here. Do we still have foo? Yeah, we do. Good. So now if we look at our git config, you can see that we have configured a hook down here. We've configured the hook named example, and it's triggering on the pre-commit event, and it's running this script here. And so if we do commit again, you can see that our script is being triggered here. Interestingly, this also still triggers existing GitHook scripts. So if we wrote that same script to git hooks pre-commit, let me get rid of that hook directory because I keep tab completing it incorrectly. And let's say hi from legacy, and we run git commit now. You can see that we're actually still running the old hook scripts in addition to the hook scripts that are configured through git config. So you kind of have both worlds going on. So the legacy world still works, but you can also configure things directly through git config now. This also means that you can configure things multiple times. Config set. So say we have an example 2. We'll actually just configure it the same way as example 1. And so if we look at our config now, you can see that we actually have 2 of these hooks configured here. And both of these and the legacy one will all be triggered when I run git commit. So you can see here that, well, did it? Yeah. So this is one invocation, this is the second invocation, and this is the legacy invocation. So we get all 3 of them being run here, which is really cool. It means that you can use multiple frameworks for managing git hooks at the same time. You can run a framework more than once. You can have custom commands. You can do a whole bunch of things with this. Now, some of the stuff that it doesn't do, that most GitHook frameworks, most good GitHook frameworks will do, is determine what files you need to pass onto other tools and then do that, or search for modifications, or stash changes, or do other interesting things, such as what pre-commit does. Install tools, manage them at versions. That's the goal of pre-commit the tool. And so this new system doesn't really replace any of those functionalities, but it does replace the functionality of being able to multiplex commands that you would run in here. So if all your GitHook framework is doing is letting you chain a bunch of commands together, then this is out of the box in Git, and you don't really need your funny framework anymore. Another cool thing that this lets you do is it lets you configure a GitHook globally. So if I instead did git config set, let's say global, and we'll call it, I don't know, we'll call it precommit.precommit, just to show you how you would use like the pre-commit framework with this. And so maybe you want to globally configure pre-commit. I don't think this is a good idea, because part of the design of pre-commit is that all of your hooks are directly in your repository. And also this kind of globally enables any repository that you clone to have pre-commit set up by default. And if you clone some untrusted thing, you might run arbitrary code that you don't want to. But anyway, this is just a silly example. This is kind of true for any GitHook script as well. Like this, setting these globally kind of opens you up to potentially running code you don't expect on untrusted repos. But anyway, that said, let's set up one of these global hooks just to show it. And so if we set global event pre-commit and then command, and I just improved this yesterday to make this easier for people to use with Git 2.54, but the command that pre-commit uses in its GitHook script is pre-commit hook impl -- hook type pre-commit, and then -- at the end. And so this is what you would configure in your script here. Also, since it's globally, you probably want skip on missing config, which is an option so that pre-commit will just do nothing if there's no configuration. So if you cloned a repo that didn't have a pre-commit config, you would use this option. This is all, this is all documented on the website. So you don't have to memorize all this or watch this video for this. If you look for hook and pull here, there's a whole section on usage with Git 2.54, including this thing that I almost forgot and put into the docs right before uploading this video or recording this video. So if we configure this now, and let's say we clone another repo, let's clone, I don't know, tokenize RT. Sure, that's another cool repo. You'll notice that if I look in Git hooks here, well, actually, let's just delete everything in Git hooks. So that if we look in Git hooks, you'll see there's no Git hooks here. If we look at our Git config, we also see there's no Git hooks configured here. But if I were to git commit, allow empty, and make a commit here, oh, right, I need to upgrade pre-commit. This is the thing that I fixed. Okay, so 4.6.0, yeah, gotta have a new enough version. Okay, if I run git commit here and we finally get our payoff, you'll see that pre-commit is able to run and function using git 2.54 plus hooks, which is pretty cool. This was a global hook that wasn't configured at all in my repository, which is kind of nice. But anyway, I guess that comes to the last part, which is like, I sort of already hinted at it, like, does this replace pre-commit? And the answer is no. Like, pre-commit does a lot of stuff beyond just running a command. Like, it involves like installing tools at particular versions that you want. It will discard temporary changes to files, so you're only linting what you're committing. It allows you to configure what files are being passed to tools, which Git doesn't handle at all. It also will detect when tools change files so that it doesn't allow unformatted things to be committed, et cetera, et cetera. And there's a lot of things that pre-commit does that are clever on top of Git to make it useful. And these are, all the reasons that pre-commit existed in the first place. The main benefit of this new configuration system is you can run multiple things without needing any sort of special multiplexer. And yes, technically part of pre-commit is its multiplexing capabilities, but Git's new system doesn't really replace that. It just kind of enhances its ability to do that. So anyway, I wanted to show this off because I think, I don't want to say I think in Git hooks, but I spend a lot of time thinking about these things, and I think it's really cool that Git did this. There was one thing that I wish Git would have changed, or like Git would have made available in this, is if you look at the Git config here, there's a bit of redundancy here. Like, you have to pass this event, and like depending on the tool that you're using, you probably need to hint to the tool what hook type it's dealing with. It would have been nice if this was available as an environment variable so that this could be made more generic, and then you could configure multiple events at the same time. Like, it would have been nice to be able to just do this as the thing, but it doesn't work that way. So unfortunately, it ends up like this. And that's kind of why I've chosen to use this naming convention here as well, so that it's like tool name and then the Git hook. Obviously, this is probably a bit more obvious of the intent here. But anyway, I think this is pretty cool. I hope you found this useful. If there are additional things you would like me to explain, leave a comment below or reach out to me on the various platforms. But thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one.